Hello there, my name is Paul Mooney and I'm the founder of Cohesion. So since the year 1999 in Ireland and Australia, Middle East, Singapore and several parts of Africa, Cohesion has been evolving from being a product and a technology company through being a boutique consulting house for people development. And now in the year 2017, it's bringing both of those together in what we call Cohesion Edge. And the purpose of Cohesion is to work with our clients to act on all of the fragmentation and the waste that's going on in their system. So Cohesion is the opposite of fragmentation. So we work with any organization that has some kind of fragmentation going on in the middle, and fragmentation could be a misalignment, a waste, not achieving your profit objectives, having low engagement figures in your staff surveys, clients not being satisfied. The whole idea of cohesion is it comes from incoherence, when all the energy and the effort you put in doesn't produce what you expect it to be on the outside. And of course, what we're saying is what's going wrong is actually on the inside, and all of the puzzle pieces are available to the system and the leader that decides to take a cohesive approach. So once you take a cohesive approach, you end up running your business in a circular fashion. It's the first thing you do. So instead of having meetings, you will have circles, and we show you how to do that little process, 60-minute process called a cohesion circle. And once you implement cohesion circles in your business, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to increase cohesion, okay, on a scale of 7 to 1, 7 being fragmented, 1 being cohesive. The next thing you're going to do in your system is you are going to create the capability for self-directed change, which means that the people who are members of this circle make changes in the system without culture change programs and without change management programs. The next thing you do in this particular compass is you create an ideal system. An ideal is an acronym for integrated, deep, engaged action learning. And that's the methodology we use in order to go from fragmentation to cohesion. And then the fourth thing you do, and because we produce a dashboard, you can tell exactly where it's happening, you can create value. So it's a value creation process. So these are the things that you'll end up doing. Importantly, then, the outcomes in the whole system. Number one is that the system will be much better at producing its own vision and value. I'm going to change colors, it's not so clear. Vision and value. Secondly, it's going to be identified around profit and contribution. Thirdly, you're going to have a deep and resilient, engaged system. And fourthly, you're going to have technology that will help you scale in the field of what's often called digital transformation or digital disruption, because this is a technology process just as well as anything. So how do we actually do that? So here's how we do it. First thing we do is we'll run a half-day circle for you, and we'll run that at our risk and our expense to show you what the cohesion method looks like and feels like. And overall, once you see all of this happening in the system, what we're seeing for our clients is for every 10% shift in cohesion, they're getting a 6% shift in economic output in the system. So using circles, we will give you the demo. Then what do? The second thing you will do is you will run a thing called a cohesion discovery. And a cohesion discovery is a one-day process where we'll take the leader, the exco, about 30-40 members of the system, and we'll simulate a dashboard, and we will find a cross-section of the deep dive collective data within that system. Then we will work with the leader one-on-one in a process called leader as strategist, and we will use all the data that we collected there to help the leader prepare to expand the system. The next thing we do is we will take all of the direct reports for the leader away on a 3-day cohesion process, which we call collective maturity. And that's the process with which the executives become aligned and combined. One of the quotes that we heard one time was that a group went in wanting to kill each other and they came out wanting to die for each other, and that's the kind of stuff that goes on in that 3-day residential process. And then the next thing you will do is you will run a cohesion dashboard in the entire system. And that means you're going to be collecting 50 energy items and 50 economic items in order to find out what's going on in the system, and then we will use that data to feed the collective maturity container. Then what do we do? So you can imagine that this is going to be the staff and the managers, and this is going to be the leaders and the executives. So the next thing we do is we give a 1-day version of the 3-day process, and we call that process group cohesion. So that means we break 150 or 200 people up into groups of 24, and in a very short time we will give them a 1-day version of that, and very importantly we will teach them how to run this circle. And then what happens is the people from the system are running this cohesion circle, problem finding, getting deep beneath the symptoms in the organization. And then what we will do is we will surround the entire system by running in a continuous cohesion dashboard. And the dashboard gives you measures for energy, engagement, service, revenue, margin, productivity, resilience and efficiency. You'll also get a nice triangulation data between the leader, the group and the organization. And you'll also get a cohesion score, as I said, from 7 to 1, 7 being fragmented and 1 being cohesive. And that's how you will end up doing all of this. Now, how long does it take to do this? This entire process for a group of about 200 people takes about 20 to 26 weeks or so. But what you will see in that, you'll begin to see the shift towards this ratio of 10 to 6. Now, if the business wants to do that, they can do that. But then if they want to scale it large, they will implement our technology. And the technology is a process called value meetings, which is a little application which tells you what's going on in all of the meetings that are not dialogic. And you run a thing called DigiGuide. And DigiGuide is an application on the mobile phone which runs a circle even if there's no trained guide in the room. Now, where does all the data go? Cohesion itself is a huge database. And the database is fed with leader data, with executive data, with circle data, with dashboard data. So you have tons and tons of both qualitative and quantitative information in the system. And if you want to connect that into your financial instruments, we use a process called a value balance sheet, where we work with the P&L and the balance sheet. So on the P&L, we're interested in sales, cost of sales, non-labor expenses, labor expenses. We're looking there at finding out what the net operating profit is before tax. And we're interested here in the balance sheet as it relates to debt, equity, fixed assets and working capital. And for the first time, we put the people, the salary bill for the business into that instrument. And now we measure return on net assets over weighted average cost of capital, so that the leadership team are using what we consider to be about between somewhere in 100 and 140 drivers to turn potential into value, and we end up calling that the P/V ratio. So we spent about 5 years getting the people part right. We've spent about 7 or 10 years getting the technology right. We've lots of evidence, lots of demonstrations, and the simplest way to get in touch is to send an email. So send an email to paul@cohesion.global. Send an email to paul@cohesion.global, and one of us, our community of business, will be glad to contact you. I hope this makes sense, and we look forward to running this demonstration circle at our risk and free to you. Hope to see you soon. Thanks very much.